Hello. Today we will discuss about Ohm's law. Ohm's law. Uh, this is the law which you have already discussed in your earlier class in class 10th. In this class we will also take the Ohm's law a little further qualitatively and discuss the various parameters which are associated with the Ohm's law. So what is Ohm's law? So Ohm's law relates the electric current flowing through a conductor with the potential difference applied across the two ends of the conductor. So this relationship is known as the Ohm's law. And here we take the Ohm's law applicable to the electrical conductors. Right? So what Ohm law states? It simply states that for convenience, let me take a conductor of some area of cross section and length L, across which some electric potential is applied with the help of some battery or cell. Right? So we are applying some potential, for example V, across its two ends. So this is the potential difference across the two ends of this conductor, and suppose that due to which some current flows through the conductor. Then according to Ohm's law, the potential difference which we applied across the two ends of the conductor, it is directly proportional to the current flowing through it. Right? So from Ohm's law, V is proportional to I. So as the current increases, that means more will be the electric potential, or more the current flows through the conductor, more will be the potential required, or we can say more will be the potential across its two ends. So this is the relationship between V and I according to Ohm's law. But this law holds only under some certain conditions. If these conditions are violated or not maintained, then this proportionality will not hold. So what are these conditions? Conditions are that all physical conditions or parameters remain same, or we can say constant. So physical conditions has always to remain constant, only then this proportionality will hold. So whenever we define Ohm's law, we always make mention of this term, that all the physical conditions must remain same, only then the potential difference applied across two ends of the conductor, it will be directly proportional to the current. Otherwise that proportionality will be lost. There will be different values of current other than this proportionality. Right? So these physical conditions, these may be the dimension of the conductor, or the temperature in which the conductor is working, or it may be also depend upon the material of the conductor. So all such kind of physical conditions must remain same. So from here we see that V is equal to, whenever we remove proportionality, we apply the sign of equality and we come across some constant of proportionality R. We represent here it with the capital R or small r. This R, it is nothing but the resistance of the conductor. Resistance of the conductor towards the flow of current, in the path of the flow of current. So this resistance, it is the resistance to the current, and the resistance of the conductor depends upon the various properties of the conductor. So it is the internal property of a conductor. Okay. So from here we see that there is some direct proportionality between V and I according to Ohm's law, and under some certain constant conditions. And this proportionality we can also draw on the graph just as this. So if we take I along the horizontal axis and V along the vertical, and under these conditions, if these conditions are satisfied, then V and I will be proportional, and we get a straight line graph just like this. This graph will be a straight line graph inclined to either V axis or I axis, both V and I axis. So such a kind of proportionality between V and I, it is called as Ohm's law. Let us talk about this quantity R. So this R from here, it is given by I goes to the other side, so it becomes V upon I. From here we can define the resistance. So units for measuring the resistance are the ohms, ohm, or we can also indicate with this symbol of ohm. So resistance is either mentioned in ohm or in this symbol, right? So from here we can define the resistance of 1 ohm. So from here the resistance 1 ohm, or 1 ohm is the resistance of the conductor through which 1 ampere current flows whenever 1 volt potential difference is applied. So from here 1 ohm will come when potential is 1 volt and current is also 1 ampere. The units for potential difference are volts, and for the current are ampere, as you already know it. So from here we see that 1 ohm will be the resistance whenever 1 ampere current will flow on application of 1 volt potential difference through the given conductor, whose 1 ohm resistance we are defining. So this is the 1 ohm resistance. Now we can talk about this resistance little more. We can talk about the cause of this resistance and the various factors which are affecting the resistance of any conductor. So from here we see that V is proportional to I, or we can say V is equal to R into I, or R into I into R. So this is Ohm's law. Okay. So what is the cause of resistance? Why any kind of material have the resistance? Different conductors, different kinds of material have different resistances. So why a material have the resistance? Why it opposes the current? Let us take this example of some conductor, and we already know that in case of conducting substances or conductors, which are mostly the metallic conductors, the current is carried by the free electrons. We already know what are the free electrons. The electrons which are very loosely bound to the atom, or lies in the outermost orbit of the atom. So these electrons are very loosely bound, and even with a very small potential difference they become free and are able to move along one particular direction and hence create current. So in metallic conductors generally the current is carried by the electrons, right? So whenever these electrons, for example, let me just draw it here. So these electrons, on the application of some potential difference, they start moving in one particular direction. For example, they start moving in this direction, right? There are other atoms or ions or electrons with which they face collisions. So their motion is not so much free, so that they move from one end and reach the other end of the conductor without any incidence. So during their motion they collide with the other atoms of the conductor, hence their motion is prohibited, or we can say opposed. They start their journey again, and again they face collision with the other atoms or ions of the conductor, and then they start their journey again they face collision, and then they reach the other end of the conductor by facing so many number of collisions. So these collisions, what these collisions are doing to the electron? These collisions are opposing the motion of the electrons. How? Because whenever the electron faces the collision, so this is the relaxation time, the time during which there was no collision. At this point there was collision, then it remains free from collision, and then at this point it again faces the collision. So this relaxation, when more number of collisions takes place, the relaxation time decreases, tau, which we represented as tau. It is the average relaxation time, as we have discussed in our earlier class. So this relaxation time decreases. If relaxation time decreases, that means it remains less free to move. With the less relaxation time, we mean that the electron was less free to move. Its motion is opposed. It is not so much free to move from one end of the conductor to the other end of the conductor. And because it is not so much free, so that means simply that its electron mobility is less. It is not so much mobile to move inside the conductor, right? So when electron mobility is less, the electric current will be less, and hence these collisions are actually the cause of less current. So these collisions are opposing or creating the resistance to the flow of electrons and electric current, and hence this is the cause of electrical resistance of any conductor. Electrical resistance of electrical nature. Okay. So from here we understand that collisions of free moving electrons on application of potential difference across the conductor so collision of free electrons with other atoms, electrons or ions present in the conductor opposes the motion of an electron, and hence opposes electric current. So this opposition which is created, so this opposition is electrical resistance of the conductor. So this is what we understand about resistance, the property of a conductor, that how a conductor has or any kind of material have the resistance due to the collision of the free electrons during their motion in one direction with the other atoms or ions of the conductor, right? So the conductors made from different materials have different resistances because they face different number of collisions depending upon the kind of material they have, the kind of internal structure the material have. Copper has different one, silver has different one, aluminum has different one, iron has different one, plastic has different one. All such materials have different electrical resistances. So it depends upon the internal properties of the conductor, and also of course also on some other factors. So let us discuss about the factors which affect the resistance of any conductor, be it internal or the external. So very first factor so we are discussing the factors affecting resistance of the conductor. Suppose that we have this conductor and another conductor here. This conductor is of some particular material and it has area cross section A and length L. Of the same material we are taking another conductor of same length but of larger area of cross section. So let me represent it by here with the small a area cross section, here it is capital A, just to differentiate. So we are taking the same two conductors of the same material, for example copper, and the length of the both conductors is same but the area cross section are different. Then one which has the less area will have more resistance and one which has large area of cross section will have less resistance, right? So first factor is the area of cross section. So how the area of cross section of the conductor affects the resistance of the conductor. Suppose that electrons has to move in first conductor. This is the first conductor, this is the second one. Then the electrons which are present, they will have less area through which they can propagate, right? You can compare the situation with, suppose that there is a room which is full of some students or children. So whenever they are asked to go out, for example, then they will have single door to move through, right? They will take more time to cross. But if the door is very wide open, or we can say one wall is just open, then the student will take less time to cross, or we can say that the more number of students can cross that the wall, or we can say room. So one which has higher area of cross section, more number of charges can cross the area of cross section, right? Hence the more value of current, or we can say less value of electrical resistance will be there. There will be less resistance towards the path of the electrons, and we can say current. So with the less area of cross section, the less number of charge carrier can cross through the given cross section, and in this case more number of electrons can cross the given point, the given area cross section across the same point, right? So here the electrical resistance will be less, and in this case electrical resistance will be more, and hence once the electrical resistance is less, there will be more amount of current that can flow, because more number of charge carrier can flow. So this is the effect. So from here we see that the resistance is directly proportional to the area of cross section. Second factor is the length. Area of cross section, we can also call it as the thickness of the conductor. Thick is the wire or conductor, less will be the area of cross section. Resistance is inversely proportional to the area of cross section. So if we want higher resistance, we have to keep the area of cross section low. That means a thin wire will have larger we can say resistance, and a thick wire will have less value of resistance. So please make this correction. Second factor is the length of the conductor. So how length of the conductor will affect? Suppose that we are taking the same situation. We are taking the now two conductors of same material and same area cross section, but of different lengths. One is having length L and other one is having length capital L, for example. Of course, the second one has higher length, and the area cross section of the two are same. So in this case, the electrons has longer path to travel in order to create the current. The electrons have longer path to move from one end of the conductor to the other end of the conductor. So during this length, they face more number of collisions. They have to face more number of collision for this much extra part of the length. So that means more is the length, more will be the number of collisions faced by the electrons, and hence more is the resistance. So there is the direct proportionality between resistance and the length of the conductor. So as the length increases of the conductor, its resistance also increases. Or we can say more lengthy conductor will use, more resistance it will have. The third factor is the temperature of the conductor. So how temperature affects? Temperature affects the resistance of any conductor. As the temperature of the resistance, conductor increases, right, the electrons will have, electrons or atoms or ions present in the conductor will have more energy, due to which these atoms other than the electrons, all particles just like atoms or ions, they will start vibrating with more displacement or more amplitude. Because temperature is high, the atoms or ions starts vibrating with higher amplitude, due to which the electrons face even more number of collisions with these atoms, right? So with each atom they face more than one number of collisions, and hence in this way, with increase in temperature, more number of collisions will cause more resistance to happen. So there is direct proportionality between temperature and the resistance, but that relationship through which the two resistances the resistance is related to the temperature is slightly different. It is, for example, initially we have some temperature R naught at 0 Kelvin, for example. We have some resistance R naught. Then after temperature T, or we can say that change in temperature which has other temperatures than 0, the resistance is supposed which is R. Then this new resistance at this much temperature with change in temperature equal to T, it is given by R naught into, or we can say R naught plus R naught into alpha into T. This change in temperature we can also write it as delta T to make it little bit more information clear. So the resistance will be more by this factor, and this factor, it is the some multiple alpha delta T times multiple of R naughts. So alpha is nothing but the some property of this conductor. It is called as the temperature dependence of the conductor, or we can say temperature coefficient of the conductor. It will be different for different materials. And delta T is the temperature change from the earlier value at which the resistance is R naught. So this is the relationship that gives, if more is the temperature change, more will be the resistance from this expression. Okay. And the fourth factor, it is the kind of material of which the conductor is made up of. Different materials have different resistances, as we have discussed earlier. Copper has different resistance, silver has different, aluminum has different, and in all such manners, all kind of materials have different resistances. So resistance also depends upon what kind of material we are using to make a conductor or a wire. So that's about all about factors which affect the resistance of any conductor. This third factor we will discuss later while we will introduce the concept of electrical resistivity. Okay, so next thing we will take, which will be the last thing of this video, it will be the Ohm's law. There are some situations where Ohm law is valid, and there are situations where Ohm law does not follow, the Ohm law fails. So there may be situations that will further increase in current, the potential increases sharply, and there is no more proportionality between current and the voltage, and this may happen without changing other factors. For example, this is I and this is V. So whenever we talk about Ohm's law takes this form. There is direct proportionality between V and I, but this proportionality holds only when small changes in the current. Whenever current increases to a larger value or beyond a certain value, for example, current increases for a metallic conductor beyond this value, then the proportionality between V and I is no more valid. So it just takes a different variation. So up to this value of current, lower value of current, there is of course direct proportionality between V and I, but beyond that V and I differs for a higher value of current. So why it is so? This can happen even for the metallic conductors. Why it is so? Because for higher value of current, there will be the heating effect in the metallic conductors. Due to that heating effect in the metallic conductors, the temperature of the conductor increases. And we have already studied, if the temperature of the conductor increases, there will be more resistance. So more resistance means less value of current. We require higher and higher value of potential to send the same amount of the current through the conductor. Hence the variation. Second factor, we can say second failure, this one that V is different for different, or we can say higher currents. Higher value of currents, or current may have different variation that depends upon the direction of potential. In what direction the potential is applied? Electric potential difference. So suppose that in case of semiconductor PN junction diodes, you will discuss in the last chapter of this 12th class physics syllabus. What happens whenever we change the potential? In, for example, we have applied the potential in one direction. The graph between V and I, it takes this form. In that case, suppose that we keep it just like this. So that whenever we apply positive potential is applied whenever positive terminal of the battery is connected to P type of region of the PN junction diode. So this is a PN junction diode. It is made up of two kinds of semiconductor, P type semiconductor and N type semiconductor. So whenever you connect the battery in such a way so that positive, this is the positive terminal of the battery, it is connected to P region, and negative terminal of the battery is connected to N region. We say that the potential applied is positive. Then the current varies in this way. So there is very small increase in current for this much value of potential, but after that there is quite sharp increase in the current with respect to the potential, and the Ohm's law valid only up to this length. So if we talk about the PN junction diode, so the graph is not a straight line but a other than straight line. Hence there is no direct proportionality between I and V. So Ohm's law is not valid in case of semiconductor. And also whenever we change the potential, we apply in opposite direction. So whenever positive is connected to N region and negative of the battery is connected to P region, we call it to be the negative potential. So whenever negative potential is applied, the graph is just like this. So it again shows that whenever we change the direction of the potential, Ohm law is not valid, right? And also the third kind of situation is the thyristors. Thyristors are the regions which are connected with the PN type of semiconductors. So two PN type semiconductors are joined in order to create a thyristors. So it may, in such cases, it happens that with increase in potential, the current decreases. So this is the graph for such kind of situations, right? So graph is very much similar to this slide for positive potential, and if apply the potential in opposite direction, the graph is very much like this, right? So this is negative potential and this is positive potential. So this is how the variation between current and potential takes place in different situations, and in all these situations Ohm law is not valid. Because Ohm law is not valid in all kinds of materials or conductors we make use of, or semiconductors we make use of, so hence we cannot say that Ohm's law is a universal law. So that is all about Ohm's law and the resistance. In the next class we will take on resistivity and some other terms. Thank you.